I've got to get one of those.
Why don't you have a Jazzmaster?
That's a great freaking question, Justin.
You don't have a good answer.
I don't. I'll tell you why I don't.
Okay.
It was a traumatic experience.
Did one beat you up and take your lunch money?
So Marty Schwartz, back in the day, he used to play at this place called The Cove in California. It was this awesome bar. It was like full mafia steak bar. And at the end of the night, it was the only place open in town. So, that's where I reconnected with Marty and we'd go there. So long story shorter, when I started working with Tim Pierce, Marty's like, why don't you guys come out and play with me one night? And so we came out to play. And I was like, this would be great. We both brought our guitars and everything. And Marty's brother used to play with Marty and he has a Jazzmaster.
Ah.
And so Tim gets up to play. And he's, Tim, he just freaking burns. And so he does this amazing thing. And then he comes off of the stage and he whispers to me and he goes, I just want to let you know, that's literally the hardest guitar I've ever played. And I can't believe I got anything out. I mean, and so it's like
he was playing the Jazzmaster?
Playing the Jazzmaster. Yeah. The action was like this high.
Yeah.
Like gauge 13 strings. And so I think I had a traumatic experience. But I know that one is fantastic.
Yes.
And there's other fantastic. I love the Novo versions of the fantastic guitars.
Yeah, I have one of those too.
Yeah, you do. Mm-hmm. You got all the cool stuff.
This just seems like the usable vibrato that you can do big moves with it, like a Floyd Rose, but it doesn't take like 2 hours to set up, like a Floyd Rose. You can go...
Oh, wait a second. Okay, let me ask you this. If you have to detune it, is it weird?
No.
What? So it doesn't like pull back and do weird stuff with you? Oh, now I have to have one. Sold!
Yeah. They're awesome. They're so awesome.
I need one now. Welcome once again. So this is round 2. Justin actually did a fantastic video before this, and my audio interface decided it was not going to play nice, and we're recording round 2.
It said no.
It said some sort of alien language I've never heard ever. Felt like we were in some like sci-fi movie.
Digital diarrhea is what it sounded like.
So anyways, welcome once again. This is the great Justin Ostrander. He is a Nashville session cat who also just created one of the most freaking awesome courses ever.
Thanks.
So good. So good. For all levels, by the way. So even if you're not special with everything yet, this is the perfect place. And if you're a great guitar player, but maybe not creative and want to be creative.
Yeah. So I feel like most guitar players, we learn a bunch of licks and then we put them in various compartments and decide what they're for. And that's fine, but that doesn't really help you come up with something on your own. So my idea was, let's revisit fundamentals. And if you're new, then let's just visit fundamentals.
Sure, yeah.
In a way that kind of opens the door to being creative, to coming up with your own stuff. So that's the entire goal behind this. I'm not trying to show you licks and then slow it down so you can learn it. I'm trying to open rooms for you to go in and do your own thing and create a cool intro part or a secondary rhythm part, something that works with the band or with another guitar player, and plays nice and makes everything and everybody else sound better.
You know, what's cool too is I think a lot of guitar players want to learn how to solo because they want to learn how to improvise. And this is like really cool for rhythmic improvisation. It's
right.
and it's something that actually enhances a song.
Yes.
So if you're looking to play with other people or write or create something, it's like, this is what I think this should be the skill you learn first before you decide I'm going to be an awesome lead player. Like, how about being awesome addition to a band?
Yeah. And you think about, like, especially nowadays, each song I play on might be 80 measures long.
Yeah.
4 of those are the solo. Okay. Yeah, right. Like maybe 8.
Yeah, if you're lucky.
Yeah.
We're gonna extend way out on this one.
Yeah, depending on how you're counting.
Sure. So we're gonna leave the course link down below. Opening weekend, it will be 50% off, so get it while it's hot. It's a freaking great course. Check it out. There's gonna be tabs, jam tracks, all the things.
Oh yeah.
And one of the cool concepts that I think is really gonna open up the fretboard people, I think you call it it was a target? How did you
Anchor notes. Yeah.
Very cool concept. So let me play this progression again. Play like a rhythmic part in one spot, and then let's backtrack how you're using that.
Yep. Sounds good.
All right. 2, 3, 4. Okay, so concept is?
Yeah, so when I see that progression, it's A with a passing G chord to D, passing G chord back to A. I think home base is A, so A is the 1, right? I think very numerically. Nashville, we write out the number system. It kind of makes sense.
He's a math genius too.
Math guy. I'm a huge nerd.
Aren't you like double math degree?
I have a master's and a bachelor's.
Master's in what?
Math.
Well, but what's the?
I wrote I wrote my thesis on the foundations of cryptography, elliptic curve cryptography. If you go to the K-State Library, Kansas State, you can find my 40-page published.
Come on. All right. Anyway, so
former lifetime.
That's amazing. Okay, so
I think of A as the 1, right?
Okay.
So anytime I'm playing along with somebody and they're playing a chord progression or the song starts with a certain chord progression, I have this visible pattern on the entire neck of where every single anchor note is.
What is the anchor note?
Well, the simplest anchor note for any chord is just its root.
Oh, okay. Right.
So if this is in A, I think of this as a 1, flat 7, 4.
Okay.
Back to the flat 7 to the 1. So all the A's in that position. So that would be in, all the A's in that position. And then it starts over. That's every A. And I kind of just see the entire thing.
So
this is very simplified, like beginning.
It's cage-ish, but with more single note application.
Real cagey.
It's real cagey.
Yeah. I think of it as like this is how you sort of find a melody that weaves through your chord progression.
Okay.
And when you can do that, you get into the world of like, let's create a hook. Let's create something that's memorable, that gets it's an earworm, right? Kind of gets in people's heads without being super annoying. That's the tightrope you're walking, is on the one side you become kind of annoying and on the other side it's forgettable, right?
It's forgettable.
Yeah, like you're kind of trying to weave this thing. So I think of it as more of a melodic, caged kind of concept. We're looking for notes that connect through the chords to create a melody that's memorable.
So if someone's looking to apply this concept in the beginning, is roots kind of the way to go? Like if you take that chord progression, for instance, how would you use this concept to come up with that other part?
Well, I know that the 1 is here. So the major third I know is here. I can create a triad. That's kind of a Stonesy voicing. Like I'm just doing
That was cool.
all the things in A, you know, with those chords or whatever.
Oh, flat 7, right?
Yeah, I
Oh, it's a
hammered
D.
on to that passing chord like Keith would.
Okay.
You know? Except I've never done cocaine.
Yeah, right. You're not made of cocaine?
I'm probably not going to live as long as him either. It's just, he's immortal. So
It's the transfusions.
if this is a 1 chord, the frets all keep the same relationship all the way up and down the neck. Even though these are closer together up here than these are down here, all that has to do with is string tension. As you shorten a string, you don't have to shorten the string as much to get to the next pitch because the tension is increasing. So that's a 1 chord. That's going to be a flat 7, a whole step down. So this is A, this is G. In the position you were playing, I could think of it as...
Got it. So you went, so if they're going to use the root, it would be the 10th fret, the 8th fret, and then the 7th fret on the G. I'd imagine that's great for soloing too, yeah?
Oh, yeah, yeah. Then you go to the 3rd of the 4 chord. Like I know where all the degrees of all these chords are around this like 1 anchor note of A, because I know that your A chord is kind of an A major thing. I know that your flat 7 is a G major. I know that your 4 is a D major. So I know.
So do you know the degrees of the scale around each
Right, yeah, so this is 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4.
Nice. Check you out, George Lynch.
I don't even have Tom Bukovac hands.
Yeah, right.
I have normal hands.
That was so funny. You told me that one day, and I was like, "Does he have big hands?" And he came over here, and it was just like, "Let me see your hand," because he was doing these chords, and he was just like,
Yeah.
"It's not even fair."
Well, it's
like bear paws.
Yeah, he's so great to watch because he's super inspiring. He has complete mastery of the instrument, but he can reach things that most people can't physically play. So it's kind of like, man, that's neat. You keep doing that, I'll never be able to.
Totally.
I'm thinking about getting surgery,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
hanging weights off my hand.
You do the opposite Tony Iommi. You're like adding extensions on your fingers.
Yeah, he cut his
How can you imagine?
like on accident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just oops.
Yeah. And he said that it hurt for a long time afterward. He just didn't have the padding, right?
Oh, dude. Well, I think he's stuck like those staple thimbles on his fingers. So when he plays, he puts those things on his fingers, and that's how he plays.
Oh, man, that's right.
Because otherwise, it'd be too short. Oh. I mean, do you think you have a hard time reaching chords, with your hands?
That's like trying to tap dance on stilts.
Yeah, pretty much.
Imagine.
Yeah, like you can't even feel it. I guess you can bend to your heart's content because you're never going to have to worry about your callus.
And yet he's one of the giants on whose shoulders we all stand.
Yeah.
Like everybody, it doesn't matter what you play, something goes back to his rhythm.
Like on his rig, there's a sign like this big for the roadie. Do not forget the thimbles. Can you imagine? Where are their fingers?
Yeah. I need my fingers to play guitar. Yeah.
Totally. Okay. So, anyways, how would you? Do you? Obviously, you could go down one string to do this approach to anchor note wise.
Totally.
How would you suggest a person trying to use this concept for the first time? If somebody they're with their buddy and they're jamming, and that chord progression comes up, and they want to come up with something different.
Right. Yeah. And this is more about parts and less about soloing, right? So I would start looking for as little movement as you can while playing chord tones.
Okay.
So play the chord progression again. I'll play something that literally is only 2 notes.
Okay.
But that works.
Okay. 2, 3.
I mean, it's just,
So what is it that you're doing?
so I'm just playing one, then playing the 2, which works over the flat 7, back to the 1 over the 4 chord. So the chord,
What were the 2 notes you played? Was it here?
it's just A to B.
Oh, right. So that's the G.
Yeah.
And then back to the D.
I'll play both our parts at the same time. Check it out.
You're just learning.
Yeah.
That's amazing, though. So that's from the A chord, G chord.
That's the 3rd of your flat 7. That's something else. You'll notice this as you kind of get into this anchor notes thing.
Yeah.
We start ultra simple, then we get into intervals that don't involve the root note, right? Because if you just sort of play roots, it gets a little stale afterward, you know?
You know, the great thing, too, is what you were saying in our previous lesson that didn't make it, was it's basically becomes patterns, too. Like once you learn whatever that chord progression is and the pattern that you can use it, and you just have to shift it to whatever key that you're in. That stuff sticks with you forever.
Say your singer is like, hey, that's high. Can we go down a whole step? Okay. And then my part. That's the same thing a whole step down as. So it's really like you get to the point where when you have the pattern over the entire fretboard, it doesn't matter what key you're in.
Yeah.
You're not like, oh, well, I'm good in G, but B flat makes me stop and think. You know, you have this entire thing of anchor points. If you understand intervals and you understand what's involved, what notes make up the chords you're playing over, it sort of opens the door for you to be able to play really hooky parts of notes that are in the chord, or you can start putting notes in that are outside the chord to create new colors, right?
You know, it kind of strikes me as if you're taking that concept and you say you learn those points on one string, it seems like it'd be really beneficial. Like if your anchor points are all on the B string, like what chords, how do I make those progressions out of those notes? Like if you're using, like here where you're saying for the A note, like how do I make an A chord out of that? And just learning, like if I'm on the B string, that's the shape. Right,
yeah, I know that the major third, 1, 2, 3.
Oh, dude, wait, do that again. That's, so you went here, 1, 2, 3. Oh, so you use it literally like it's that point you can go this way or this way and you know all the intervals.
Right. So each anchor point is,
check you out.
It's not necessarily like, well, that's what all my index finger is going to play. I'm in 10th position. Well, you might also be in 7th position. I'm just trying to find all the A chords on the entire fretboard.
You know what's funny?
That's an A chord. Second inversion.
I think I've worked with most every well-known session guitar player at this point, except for with the exception of Dean Parks or a couple guys in LA. Every single one of them says chords all over the neck. That's the key to everything.
It is.
Yeah. And nobody, not one, I can think of how many times I've worked with people and you'll say, oh, that's the such and such scale. And they're like, it is? Scales almost have nothing to do with it. It's just like they know the chords everywhere.
I put out a fairly controversial video about modes and how they, chasing the idea of how to build my musicality through understanding modes was actually the wrong way to go for me.
Sure.
And my title, it's YouTube. little bit grabby, a little bit controversial. Modes held me back. You know,
Exactly.
if I'm honest.
Why modes suck?
Yeah, but you know, that was based on seeing Guthrie mention something about how
he's a
like
perfect example.
no one talks about this. No one's like, oh, cool, man. Yeah, why don't you do something in the Lydian world?
He has no idea.
No.
Yeah, he
It's
knows
all
Mixolydian
chords.
and minor.
It's all chords. Yeah. I hear Mixolydian and I think, yeah, I know Mixolydian because I know a dominant seventh chord.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
I know Lydian because I know a 4 chord in a major key. Right? Like that's what these are built off of. And the difference is modes are linear, whereas chords are stacked in thirds, and you can get much deeper into the harmony of what you're playing over and finding things that melodically thread their way through it if you're not starting from the position of, hey, these are all scales.
Sure.
Right? And we're going to play all these notes in a row because really you're thinking of chords and you're picking pieces of them out and you're arpeggiating your way through a chord progression. Essentially, it's like that melodic version of Caged.
Sure.
Is what we're saying.
Yeah.
You know? I think that unlocks a different world for people rather than here's my toolbox. What licks do I want to pull out and put in my solo? You know.
Well, and the chord thing, to me, where it really shines is not every song you're going to play fits in one key.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? If you're so like in that zone, like what happens when it modulates or
Right.
there's a chord that comes out of nowhere
Right.
that doesn't fit in the key, like you're done.
Yeah.
If you can't immediately see that chord somewhere where you're playing,
Yeah.
good luck.
My favorite example of that is like you're playing something like. Play this chord progression with me. D, A, down to F sharp, D, E.
E? Okay.
Like that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
To me, but some guys that's like their only framework.
Sure.
It's the minor pentatonic blues thing, and they're like, well, it's in A, so I'm gonna.
Right. Okay, so how would you?
Well, first of all, like that basic framework works 3 frets down, but also I would play the notes in the chord.
Yeah.
So that's F sharp minor, and then yeah, all the other chords are major. Yeah,
Okay,
go
so-
for it. Like that's hooky,
You would have been a hit in an alternative band.
right? Yeah, there's a little bit of like what is it? It's Third Eye Blind
Yeah, totally.
or Blink 182.
Exactly. That's, yeah, exactly. God, all those bands. That's so
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. So
But,
much,
you know-
so much meth.
Yeah, so much. So much. Yeah, exactly. You know what's interesting though is going back now, even though I was so bummed at the time, I was like, God, it ruined all the good things that I thought about guitar. But you go back and you listen to the stuff and you're like, they could actually write like hooky songs though.
Right.
It wasn't all just like having to be wowed by like extraordinary playing. It was like I listened to some of those songs. Like I hated Nirvana in the day, but you go back and listen to it now, and you're like, okay,
Oh, dude.
like
I
he's a songwriting
love
machine.
Nirvana.
Yeah,
Listen to is it Bleach, the first record?
sure.
Good night. It's so
really-
good.
Yeah.
Listen to Purple by STP.
Oh, but STP was just like a
Pearl
freaking
Jam.
home run band
Best record of that era. Go.
of that era.
I have an answer and it's the only right answer, but I want to hear your answer.
You know, God, that's a great question. I was a huge Stone Temple Pilots fan, so I really like that band.
Those guys are geniuses.
I love the first Pearl Jam record. I like that.
10.
God, you know, there wasn't a particular band that did it for me. Loved Alice in Chains, that kind of stuff.
Dude, yeah, Rooster and
Yeah.
man, they were so good. Okay.
Facelift too. That whole album is so
Yeah.
good.
So you don't have a
I don't have a favorite.
Okay.
But there's
It's super unknown.
Yeah, see,
That's the best rock album since it came out. No one's beat it.
A lot of people, yeah.
That is a masterpiece.
Is that the one with Rusty Cage and stuff on it?
It's got
Spoon Man and all that stuff. Yeah, Fell on Black Days. Yeah.
Fell on Black Days, My Wave, Black Hole Sun.
Black Hole Sun.
The whole record is
fantastic.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
You know, he's interesting though, because he blended rock and the Beatles together really well, which is almost kind of what Stone Temple did. In a way, they had those sophisticated chords.
Dude, yeah, it was like rock with college chords.
Mm-hmm. There you go. Okay, so check out his course in the links below. Again, 50% off opening weekend. You are a session cat.
Yeah.
If people want to hear what you've done out there in the world, what are some of your favorite things that you've played on? You said you recently had some number one back-to-backs.
I did. I had 2 back-to-back number ones.
Wow, that's freaking...
1 week right after the other. And that's as a player, so it's not like I'm going to retire, you know. But I played on this song called She's Somebody's Daughter by Drew Baldridge.
Okay.
Which was really great. Totally independent. It's like the first independent song to go up and ring the bell, to go number one on terrestrial radio.
That's talk.
Yeah. Yeah, that's music.
Rung any bells lately?
Yeah. And then right after that was Cody Johnson's Dirt Cheap, which is so good. They're both great songs. That song is a classic, unapologetically country song. It's about these developers who show up at an old farmer's house and they want to buy his land. Mm-hmm. And he's like, hey, all these things happened on this property. Like, my dog's buried over there. I asked my wife to marry me here. You can't find that kind of dirt cheap. And the song's called Dirt Cheap. And
I love that witty country.
Dude, it's so good.
It had the best stories of all the time.
And he's got this like East Texas authenticity, like grew up doing rodeo stuff on a farm, legit cowboy, grew up singing in church. Great dude, great family, the whole crew around him.
All cowboy and a hat.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's really good stuff. So yeah, there's those songs. Also, Apple created a playlist. Mm-hmm. They did this for session guys, for songwriters, for engineers. You can search my name on Apple Music, and a big list of songs I played on comes up. No way. I also have it on my channel. Subscribe to my channel too.
Yeah, his channel is fantastic.
On my About page, I have links to my discography on like All Music. Exactly. Yeah. You know it. And then there's a link to that Apple Music playlist as well.
Oh, nice.
Which I'm pretty sure is kept fairly up to date. I need to check it.
You're like, honey, you hear that? That's me.
I've become a dozenaire. What do you think?
Dozenaire, exactly.
Yeah.
We can almost buy groceries this week.
Yeah.
All right. Well, check out his channel. Again, amazing channel. Tim Pierce told me it's one of his favorites, so got that going for you.
I need to go out to LA and just to give him a hug.
Thanks, man. Check out the course links down below. Thank you guys for the continued support. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We got new videos coming out all the time. Subscribe to his channel. It's absolutely awesome. And then once again, check out the course link down below. Thank you for your continued support. We'll catch you next time.